Let me tell you something about marriage. It's like coffee. At first, it's hot, addictive, and you feel like you can conquer the world with it. Over time, it gets lukewarm, comfortable, familiar. Then one day, you take a sip and realize it's cold, bitter, and someone's already drank from your cup. That was me, Thursday morning, 7:12 a.m., staring at a chipped mug with the words, "World's okayest husband" on it. I'd bought it for myself, ironically. My wife, Melissa, never found it funny. But to be fair, she didn't find much of me funny anymore. She breezed past me in that cashmere sweater I bought her last Christmas. Didn't even glance at me. No, good morning, no smile, not even a passive-aggressive sigh. Just grabbed her purse, kissed the air next to my cheek like I was a decorative plant, and left. Again, that's when I noticed something strange. Her perfume. See, Melissa had always worn this light citrusy stuff, something that made you think of lemon zest and low-maintenance elegance. But that morning, she was wearing something new, heavier, muskier. The kind of perfume that doesn't say, "I'm off to work." It says, "I'm off to be remembered." And I did remember. Because that perfume didn't belong to me. It didn't belong in our house. It belonged to a scene I wasn't invited to. Now, this isn't where I start sobbing into my coffee like a broken man in a Lifetime movie. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I didn't even break the mug. I just stared at it. Then I took a sip. Cold. Like our marriage. Like her touch. Like what was about to come next. You ever get that feeling that the truth is sitting behind a curtain with a knife, just waiting for the right cue? Yeah, that was my Thursday morning. I didn't know it yet, but by the time the weekend came around, I'd meet the man who drank from my cup. And I wouldn't raise my voice, not even once. I'd just send someone else to meet him, someone better equipped to cut him down to size with nothing but words. And a mother's fury. The thing about infidelity is, it doesn't come in loud. It drips in, like a leaky faucet behind the drywall. You don't see it, but the damage is spreading. Melissa started working late. Not, "I'm saving the company" late, more like, "I forgot I'm married" late. She'd come home tired, looking drained yet somehow glowing. You know what I mean? That weird contradiction where the eyes look exhausted but the skin's radiant, like someone who's been working hard but not at work. Then there were the phone calls. She became surgically attached to her phone, screen facing down, silent mode. One time I heard her chuckling in the kitchen. I peeked and she was texting. I asked who it was. She said, "Oh, just Dana from Pilates." Dana must be hilarious, because apparently Dana had her giggling at 11:45 p.m. on a Sunday night. And then came the gym bag. Now Melissa hadn't been to the gym since Obama's first term. But out of nowhere, she was suddenly health-conscious and reconnecting with herself, which I assume is code for reconnecting with someone else. That gym bag never saw the inside of a treadmill room, but it did disappear with her every Tuesday and Thursday night like clockwork. So I started noticing patterns. Same exit time. Same client dinner excuse. Same fake yawn on return. But I wasn't going to confront her, not yet. Because confronting a liar before you're ready is like bringing a butter knife to a shootout. No, I wanted a full picture first. And I had just the person in mind. See, my mother is not the bake cookies and keep quiet kind of mom. She's the "I raised you with one eyebrow and zero tolerance for nonsense" kind of mom. Grew up in the Bronx, taught middle school for 30 years, and could make a Navy SEAL flinch with just her voice. So I called her. "Mom, I need a favor," I said. "I'm in," she replied, before I even explained. Didn't even ask what it was. That's the kind of woman she is. And let me tell you, when you've got a suspicious wife and a Bronx-raised mother who never fully trusted her in the first place, you don't need a private investigator. You need popcorn. They say the truth will set you free. But first, it'll mess you up, kick you in the ribs, and leave your pride limping. It was a Thursday. Melissa said she had a team-building dinner after work. I didn't argue. Just kissed her on the cheek. She flinched, which was all the confirmation I needed, and waved her off with the warm smile of a man who already knew. 10 minutes after she left, my phone buzzed. MOM. She turned east on 6th, not west toward her office. Following her. MOM, 8:42 p.m. She's not at a restaurant. She's at the Sundown Suites off Route 40. Room 214. Red sedan parked outside. I'm going in. Now, the Sundown Suites isn't where people go for shrimp cocktail and a view of the bay. It's where people go to forget they're married. Hourly rates. Dim lighting. Beds with stories. My chest didn't ache. My fists didn't clench. I just exhaled. You never really know how betrayal hits you until it does. Me? I felt detached, like I was watching my own life from the cheap seats. I looked around our house, the matching towels, the framed wedding photo, the grocery list on the fridge, and it all felt like a stage set. A fake living room on a sitcom where the audience never laughs. 20 minutes later, she came home, hair tousled, face flushed, smelled like motel-grade soap and stale lies. She walked in like nothing happened, said, "Hey babe," like she hadn't just spent the last hour tangled up in someone else's arms. That was the moment I knew I'd never trust her again. Even if she begged, even if she cried, even if she pulled the whole, it didn't mean anything card, which I knew she would. But I didn't confront her. Instead, I told her I had an early meeting the next morning and went to bed. And that night, while she slept next to me like a cat curled up on a warm lie, I stared at the ceiling and made a decision. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to cry. No, I was going to arrange a meeting. Just not with her. There's an art to revenge. Not the messy, heat-of-the-moment kind. Not the sloppy, screaming in a parking lot variety. I'm talking about the slow burn, the one that creeps up behind its target in broad daylight and whispers, "You did this to yourself." Friday morning, I woke up before Melissa. She was curled up like a woman with no conscience. I made coffee. Not for her, just for me. I sat at the kitchen counter, staring out the window, steam rising from the mug like the last thread of warmth I had left for her. By 9 a.m., I booked a table at a quaint little cafe downtown called Fig and Rose. Trendy spot. Plenty of windows. Very public. Perfect for what I had in mind. Then I made a phone call. "Hey, Ma. I was wondering when you'd call. That woman looked like a raccoon in heat, by the way. Can you meet someone for me this afternoon? 1 o'clock. Fig and Rose." There was a pause on the other end. "Is it him?" "Yep. I'll wear my pearls." Click. She didn't ask for a name. Didn't ask for a picture. Didn't need one. My mother's intuition could sniff out a rat at 100 paces, and by now she'd already memorized the make, model, and license plate of the red sedan parked at that motel. Next, I reached out to the cafe. "Hi. Yes, I'd like to make a special reservation for 2 at 1 p.m. Outdoor seating, please. Preferably one of the sidewalk tables with high visibility." "Yes, that one's perfect." I gave them the name Brandon L. That was Loverboy's name, as it turned out. I'd found it on a motel receipt Melissa left in her coat pocket like an idiot. Brandon Langston. Divorcee. Entrepreneur, according to LinkedIn, which is code for no health insurance and no real job. Once the reservation was confirmed, I wrote him a note. Sweet, flirty, just vague enough to sound like Melissa, but direct enough to make him show up. "Hey babe, figured we could talk without sneaking around for once. 1 p.m. at Fig and Rose. Outdoor table, just us. Let's be bold." Winky face, M. I printed it, folded it like a middle school love letter, and sealed it in a blank envelope. That afternoon, while Melissa was out running errands, I slid it under the windshield wiper of the red sedan parked behind the gym she supposedly went to. Let me tell you something about cowards like Brandon. They never resist an ego stroke, especially if it comes with the illusion of romance and public validation. He'd show. I'd bet my last decent pair of socks on it. As 1 p.m. rolled around, I knew my mother was already there, seated prim and proper, nursing an iced tea with a lemon wedge and judgment in her eyes. She wore her Sunday best, hair done, sunglasses on, the kind of outfit that says, "I'm not here to play, I'm here to end bloodlines." And right on time, Mr. Langston arrived. Slim-fit jeans, blazer that probably came from a clearance rack, sunglasses. The kind of guy who Googles alpha male body language before dates. He strutted toward the table, expecting Melissa. And instead, he found my mother. She smiled like a crocodile on vacation. Didn't even let him sit down. "Brandon, right?" He blinked. Yeah. Is he?" "She's not coming." "Sit." He did. Witnesses all around. Cafe packed. Waitstaff hovering. My mother leaned forward and spoke, calm and clear, every syllable like a gavel. "I'm Mark's mother. The man whose wife you've been rolling around with in motel rooms that rent by the hour. The man who still wears his wedding band while she pretends she's single." Brandon froze. The color drained from his face like the caffeine had just quit his bloodstream. "I don't know what you think this is," he mumbled. "Oh, don't insult both our intelligences," she said, waving a hand. "You're not a mastermind, Brandon. You're a midlife crisis wrapped in cheap cologne." He tried to stand. She pointed one gloved finger at him. "Sit. We're not done." And like a scolded child, he did. "Now, here's where it got beautiful. She pulled out a small envelope. Inside were pictures. Not the motel kind. This wasn't that kind of movie. Just a few well-timed shots. Him and Melissa entering the Sundown Suites. Her laughing in his car. His hand a little too low on her back. "You've got a few options," she said, voice sweet like arsenic in a teacup. "You can walk away now and never contact Melissa again. Or, I can take this envelope to your ex-wife, your church, your boss, and that neighborhood watch group you so proudly chair." He swallowed. "I wasn't there, but I bet you he looked like a man trying not to pee himself in public. And trust me, honey, I'll enjoy every second of it." She stood up, adjusted her purse, and offered a final line so poetic I wish I could have framed it. "Tell me, how's it feel being the side dish that thinks he's the entree?" Then she walked away. Left him at that table, surrounded by bystanders pretending not to stare, while the truth sat beside his lukewarm cappuccino. Melissa came home that night like nothing had happened. Same routine. Same hollow kiss on my cheek. Same forced small talk about traffic, like she hadn't just sent a man to meet her and gotten my mother instead. I played along. "How was your day?" I asked. She yawned. "Exhausting. That client from Tampa keeps changing the specs." She was lying. Not even creatively. Just shoveling dirt over a grave she hadn't realized I'd already dug. I nodded, spooned some chili into 2 bowls, and handed her one. "Well, at least it's Friday. You get to relax." She smiled. "Yeah, maybe we could do something this weekend. You and me." Interesting. That was new. A sudden bout of marital enthusiasm? Guilt always tries to do CPR on a corpse. "Sure," I said. "Let's plan something quiet. Just us." We ate in silence. She avoided eye contact the way guilty people do when they're afraid the truth might be written on their forehead. I waited. Not for her to confess, Melissa wasn't that kind of woman. She'd lie until her dying breath if it meant preserving the image she'd built of herself. But I wasn't waiting for her. I was waiting for him. Sure enough, my phone buzzed at 9:36 p.m. MOM, he tried calling her. She didn't answer. Then he sent a long text. I saw him pacing in the parking lot like he was waiting for a UFO. Eventually got in his car and peeled out. My guess? He's going to show up tomorrow. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. My mother knew the game plan. Just observe and report. The next morning, I made us breakfast. Pancakes, eggs, a little smile. Melissa tried to act normal, but her eyes kept darting to her phone like she was expecting a message. Or dreading one. At 11:22 a.m., it came. She read it. Her face fell. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Yeah, just work stuff." Her voice cracked on the word, work. Amateur mistake. I nodded. "Want to go for a drive?" She hesitated. "Actually, I've got a few things I need to take care of. Errands. Groceries and stuff." That was code. She was going to find Brandon. Patch things up. Pretend it could still work. "Sure," I said. "I'll hold the fort here." She grabbed her keys and purse, barely kissed me on the cheek, and left. And I smiled. Because what she didn't know, what made this entire place so perfect, was that Brandon wasn't going to take her back. You see, my mother didn't just threaten him. She showed him what she could do. And when you're already a twice-divorced guy with custody issues, the last thing you need is a third woman calling you the reason her life fell apart. Brandon ghosted her. Didn't answer her call. Didn't reply to her text. By 3 p.m., she was home. Empty-handed. No groceries. No explanations. She looked shaken. Like a magician who just realized the rabbit's gone and the audience is starting to boo. I waited until she'd taken her coat off and sat down. Then I said, calmly, "He's not coming back." She froze. "What?" "Brandon. The guy you've been sneaking around with for the past few months. Motel rooms. Midweek meetups. Secret texts. All of it, I know." She stared at me like a kid caught with her hand in the cookie jar, trying to decide whether to cry or double down on the lie. "I don't know what you're talking about." I smiled. "I think you do. And so does my mother. You remember her, right? Short lady. Raised me. Happens to be a better detective than Sherlock Holmes on espresso." Melissa's mouth opened. No sound came out. "She met him yesterday. At that cute cafe downtown. He thought you invited him. He was wrong." Now her eyes filled with tears. Not the heartbroken kind. The cornered animal kind. "I was going to end it," she whispered. "Sure," I said. "You were going to end it the same way you accidentally booked a room at a motel with hourly rates. With a hug and a thank you note, right?" She stood up. "I made a mistake. You made several. I didn't mean to hurt you." "Oh, but you did." You just didn't expect to get caught. She crumpled onto the couch, hands shaking. I didn't plan this, Mark. I didn't wake up one day and decide to cheat. That's the problem, Melissa. You didn't wake up. You drifted, lied, smiled in my face while living a second life behind my back. She sobbed. It didn't mean anything. Then you should have tried harder to keep it a secret. But you didn't. Because part of you wanted to get caught. Didn't you? She didn't answer. I let the silence stretch. Here's what's going to happen, I said finally. You're going to pack a bag. You're going to go stay with your sister, or a hotel, or whoever's still willing to take you in. And we'll talk, when I'm ready. She blinked. You're not throwing me out. I tilted my head. Melissa, if I wanted to hurt you, I'd do it without raising my voice. But right now, I don't want to hurt you. I just want peace. And I want space. I thought we had something worth saving, she murmured. I shrugged. We did. And then you sold it off one motel visit at a time. She packed in silence. Left in silence. And the house, finally, felt honest. No more fake laughs. No more perfume that didn't belong. Just me, a chair, and the sound of dignity echoing off the walls. The next morning, the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. I opened it to find Brandon Langston, looking like a man who'd just survived a hostage negotiation with his own conscience. I'm not here to fight, he said, hands raised. That's smart, I replied, leaning on the doorframe. He sighed. I just wanted to say I didn't know she was still with you. She told me you two were separated. Don't flatter yourself. She tells the microwave we're separated when she's reheating soup. He chuckled nervously. I didn't mean for things to go this far. I'm sure you didn't. But you parked in my spot. You used my wife. And you used up your last ounce of plausible deniability. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small envelope. This is everything. Messages, photos, receipts. I figured you might want it for whatever you're planning. I took the envelope and glanced at the contents. He wasn't lying. Thanks, I said. Now do me a favor. Anything. Disappear. He did. Funny thing about guilt. It either crushes a man or sends him running. Brandon clearly chose running. I spent the next week getting organized. Calm. Methodical. Like I was doing my taxes, if taxes included emotional damage and shredded trust. I met with a lawyer. A sharp woman named Carla who wore glasses like a weapon and smiled like a chess player on move 38. I handed her the envelope, and she barely blinked. We can use all of this, she said. Good. What are you looking to walk away with? Everything I came in with. Plus the dignity she didn't think I'd keep. She smirked. You'll get more than that. We filed. I didn't tell Melissa. Not yet. She was still staying with her sister, texting me passive-aggressive questions like, do you still want to work on this? And can we talk soon? I ignored them. My silence wasn't anger, it was structure. A blueprint for what came next. In the meantime, I called in a few favors. I reached out to mutual friends. Quietly shared what happened. No exaggerations. No slander. Just the facts. People chose sides. And surprise, most of them chose mine. 2 weeks later, I invited Melissa to coffee. Same cafe. Same table. No need to rewrite a good scene. She arrived in a beige trench coat, looking like she hadn't slept in a week. Eyes puffy, lips tight, and that telltale nervous fidget she always had when things weren't going her way. Thanks for meeting, she said, sitting. Of course, I replied. You always loved this place. She glanced around. Last time someone sat here, it wasn't me. Correct. And she was far more charming. Melissa didn't respond. Just looked at her hands. I'm filing for divorce, I said, sipping my espresso. She closed her eyes. So that's it. That's the beginning, actually. I made a mistake. I agree. But not for the reasons you think. She looked up. What do you mean? You thought I'd break. You thought I'd grovel. Maybe even beg to keep you. But you forgot who you married. I don't do pity. I do plans. She looked like she wanted to argue, but didn't. Smart choice. I wish you well, Melissa. Just not near me. I stood, dropped a 20 on the table, and left her staring into a cup that had gone cold. She responded the only way people like her know how, with a letter. Not handwritten, of course. Melissa wouldn't stain her fingertips for closure. Printed, neat, typed in Calibri like a resignation notice. She poured her heart out. Said she still loved me. Said the affair had been a symptom of her own emptiness, not a rejection of me. I didn't write back, because that letter wasn't for me. It was for her. A final performance. A chance to rewrite the script and pretend the audience hadn't already walked out halfway through Act 2. Instead, I wrote a letter of my own to my lawyer, confirming I wanted no alimony, no settlements, and no post-divorce contact. Melissa called once. I let it ring. And that was that. Now here's where the revenge comes in. Quiet, composed, and surgical. I didn't ruin her life. I didn't shout from the rooftops or torch her reputation. Instead, I gave her everything she feared most: indifference. She expected rage. I gave her silence. She wanted a scene. I handed her peace. She anticipated war. I sent her my best wishes. But I did make one move, one deliberate strike. I sent Brandon a Christmas card. Just a single line, written in blue ink on high-quality stationery. Hope she was worth it. Because cruelty doesn't always come in the form of fire. Sometimes it shows up in a polite envelope with a reminder. As for me, I moved out of the house. Started fresh. Different city, different job, same coffee mug. Still says world's okayest husband. But now, when I drink from it, the coffee's hot, and the cup's mine alone.